Tonight's top story, North Dakota leads the nation in refugees per capita. Do you feel this is a good thing for our state, or should we just opt out of the refugee resettlement program altogether? Good evening and welcome to 630 Point of View. I'm Chris Berg. Thanks so much for joining us. From the fiscal year 2014 through this past August of 2015, North Dakota took in just over 1,000 refugees, which obviously doesn't sound like a very large number. And it does equate to about 135 refugees per 100,000 North Dakota residents. As I'm sure you're well aware, there's a lot of mixed emotions on this topic. Congressman Cramer is now the co-sponsor of a bill called the Refugee Resettlement Oversight and Security Act. And Congressman Cramer joins us live tonight from our studio in Bismarck. Congressman Cramer, as always, great to have you with us. And I guess we're going to have to wait for one moment for a technical issue. But here's what I want to get at tonight. There was a thing called the Empower North Dakota that Congressman Cramer, our entire congressional delegation, plus Governor Dalrymple was at today. One of the big conversations happened last week, Friday, in the U.S. House. They passed a bill to obviously lift the oil export ban, crude oil export. The question is, can they get it done in the Senate? But also with the refugee resettlement situation, we're talking about 100,000 refugees per year, roughly, coming into the U.S. over the next 2 years. Now, a recent Rasmussen poll shows that only 7% of Americans, 7% of Americans are actually for having 100,000 refugees come inside our borders per year. Would love to know your thoughts on this. And now we do have Congressman Cramer from our studio in Bismarck. Congressman Cramer, thanks for joining us, sir.
Thanks for the opportunity, as always, Chris.
Congressman, before we get to this bill that you're co-sponsoring about refugee resettlement situation, today, obviously, the 9th annual Empower North Dakota event. You, our entire congressional delegation was there. I'm assuming that the, hey, let's lift the crude oil export ban scenario was at least discussed. You guys in the U.S. House, you passed a bill last Friday to do this. My question to you is, now it goes to the Senate. I believe Senator Heitkamp is at least co-sponsoring a bill to do this. Does she have the moxie? Does she have the wherewithal to garner enough Democrat votes to get this done? And even if President Obama vetoes this?
Well, without passing judgment on whether she has the moxie or not, she clearly supports it. Being a co-sponsor, I will tell you that I think we made the job a little easier, though, for the Senate, because in the House we did get over 60% of the House to vote for it. When I say 60%, I don't mean just of those voting; I mean of the entire House. So we, in essence, met that 60% threshold that the Senate has to have in order to pass something, and that was intentional. We worked really hard. I worked personally very hard on getting more Democratic co-sponsors, Democratic members. I think you met my friend David Scott from Georgia when you were out there, a member of the Congressional Black Caucus. I worked with them to get more of their votes, and we were able to reach a very, very high threshold, which I think should help over in the Senate get the 60 votes that they need.
Let me share with you a quick piece just to give you a chance to comment. Obviously, I look at this, I go, hey, if we lift this ban, you're going to obviously put more oil on the global markets, probably lower the price of oil, which is good for the consumer. But at the same point in time, now you're obviously going to stress out Russia because they need the oil to be high. You're going to stress out Iran. They need the oil to be high. And yet we're going to allow Iran to export oil, but not ourselves, meaning President Obama says he's going to veto this. I want you to answer the question in the context of this. Did you happen to see Steve Kroft's 60 Minutes interview with President Obama, sir?
I did not see it. I saw portions of it. Let
me give you just a clip of this. Steve Kroft was pretty aggressive with him on Sunday night. They were talking about the Syria situation. At one point, Steve Kroft says, look, Mr. President, he's talking about Putin here. He says he's challenging your leadership. He's challenging your leadership. President Obama goes on to say, well, you know what, Steve, we must have a different definition of leadership, because my definition of leadership would be leading on climate change, an international accord that potentially will get in Paris. And I don't know what to even think about that when I see a 3-year-old dead in the Mediterranean Sea. So your thoughts quickly on that, sir.
Well, I think it illustrates the fundamental problem that we have with this president. One is naivety. Two is a very different worldview than we have. And clearly, he's preparing for Paris. This climate change summit in Paris, it's right up there with his Nobel Peace Prize in terms of accomplishments that he sees as important. So I'm kind of hopeful that once he gets back from Paris, that maybe we can get back to some normalcy. But it's silly when you consider that we can use the peaceful tools of energy development and rather than the weapons of war, we ought to be using them. Chris, to put it in historical context, it was 42 years ago this week that the Yom Kippur War broke out. It ran from October 6th till October 25th. That is what led to the embargoes. That's what led to Israel wondering if the United States was going to be there for them. It's what led to Russia intervening in Syria. We are repeating history. And if we're not careful, if we're not using these incredible resources we have, we're really tying one hand behind our backs.
I completely concur. Let's move on to the refugee resettlement situation, which clearly they kind of tie in. If you look what's happening in Syria, that's where a lot of people are obviously being displaced. A lot of governors now are pushing back, Congressman, simply because of the cost situation. States, because of a 1980 law, can opt out. I wanted to get your thoughts. Should North Dakota opt out of the refugee resettlement program?
Well, I don't know enough about the North Dakota situation specifically to say they should opt out. I would tend to think they ought not to opt out. I think they ought to improve the program. That's what my bill does, is aims to have more clarity, more transparency, bringing the Congress more into the loop earlier on, and then having final say over numbers, where they come from, bringing in the security stats and data, including the FBI and intelligence, so that we have a better grasp of who's coming in. But so without passing judgment on whether North Dakota ought to opt out or not, and I would again tend to think they should not, I do think that as a nation we have to be more careful. And so my bill does a lot of the things I talked about, including, by the way, it gives preference with refugees coming out of Syria to people that are escaping who are from the religious minority, and I think that's one of the important criteria anyway. But
here's the big thing I think people are concerned about. Yes, there's the cost piece, but also the security piece. What I want to hear from you is, so who determines who comes into our borders? Is it an international agency, and they say, hey, okay, U.S. State Department, you're going to take these people? Is that accurate up to this point?
Well, it's actually the State Department has probably the most to say, at least in the early going. It's the president who ultimately sets the number. So, he's the person who has set the number at 70,000 for the last couple of years.
Here's what I want to get at then, is you're someone who's fleeing their country, many of them just with the clothes on their back. Germany, there was a gentleman that said he was a refugee, ended up being an ISIS recruiter. How do you do a security background check on a person that has got no ID, no nothing, to know that, hey, this is someone that's safe and secure to bring in our borders?
Well, actually, the process is quite rigorous, and it begins really with a face-to-face interview by a security official. So you start with that. It requires a background check that includes things as basic as fingerprints, as an example. And where there's a lack of information, Chris, it becomes very difficult to allow that person in. So in other words, the absence of information, which there's going to be many times, obviously we're talking about war-torn areas, we're talking about, in many cases, countries that maybe never had the type of information that we're seeking. That makes it much more difficult for that refugee, obviously, to clear the hurdles. That's why the president now wants to raise the number to 100,000. I think that's crazy at this point, but if we're going to have higher numbers, I think the Congress has to be in on it. I think we have to have greater security background checks. We have to include more intelligence agencies. We have to consult the FBI, and we have to include Congress and the People's House in terms of the oversight of it. But you're right. The lack of information cannot be a presumption that somebody's okay. We have to have information to clear them.
Got it. So basically, we've got U.S. obviously agencies that are then, the president gives them a list, and then they go through to either DHS or FBI and someone, they do the background and say, okay, this person's cleared, let's let them in. Is that accurate?
That's right.
All right. I mean,
that's exactly right. Although the FBI is not as involved. The DHS has really sort of been the main agency. We want to include the FBI and other security agencies.
All right. Thank you very much, sir. We appreciate it. We'll keep us abreast, obviously, how this bill goes. Now, when we come back, the railroads, and Congressman, I'm sure you've heard about this, the railroads are saying they are going to shut down if certain regs don't get extended. We'll talk about that with the Congressman next. Also, who's going to be the next Speaker of the House. But at the end of the show, many of you, I'm sure, are well aware, tonight the Democrat debate takes place for presidential candidates in Las Vegas. Our very own D.C. Bureau Chief Jacqueline Policastro is going to join us from Las Vegas to sort of highlight what's coming up tonight. Stay with us, much more coming up right here on 630 Point of View.